What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Mega Man 11 because Capcom just randomly dropped a full awesome demo onto the eShop, and I have to say that I'm completely blown away by just how tight it is. I feel like some of these demos can be a little bit odd sometimes because they're just such a tiny slice of the final game. So Capcom decided to do something really interesting with this, which is only give us a single level to play on, but they actually gave us several skills that are clearly from other parts of the game. Talents that we would have unlocked by beating bosses. So we have a shock ability that travels along the ground and a drill hit. Now both of those are cool, but what really intrigued me and managed to really be the coolest part that sucked me in and made me want to experiment is the revolutionary new system that's being introduced here, which is called gears. Now these are basically two different modes that you can shift into at any time. One of them being something that can slow down everything around you for a couple seconds, and another one that makes it where every one of your shots is extra powered up. Now these are both good for different situations, such as an enemy that's shooting a lot of projectiles that you're having trouble hitting, or if you're just trying to dodge that next blow when you're on low health, or if somebody's rushing at you and they're super strong, you can switch on the power gear and start dealing double damage with every single shot for the next few seconds. That way you can try and burn them down. Now what's cool about all these is that they're actually required as far as I can tell. This demo is actually quite difficult, and I'll be honest, I died several times during my 2 playthroughs. In fact, I even got a game over at one point, until I realized that I really needed to use the slowdown gear to try and get past certain obstacles. The game doesn't ever try and tell you this stuff though. After an initial tutorial that gives you a brief summary of what the buttons are, after that you're just left on your own. You don't know when you're supposed to be charging, dashing, slowing down time, or charging up that next big blast. I have to say, what really kind of got me the most about this demo, and really kind of made me the most hyped now for the full game, is that this really feels like a really strange blending of classic Mega Man and Mega Man X. Now, I'm sure if you guys have been subscribed for a bit, you know that I'm much more of a fan of the Mega Man X games because they feel faster and they give you a lot more dynamic abilities to skip around or do super jumps. And now, it seems like we have both of those in one. This game is quite fast, and while it doesn't have a wall skip or a way to slide, I still felt like I was able to traverse the level relatively quick, especially with the slowdown ability. I do think that, if anything, it's a little bit peculiar that they've put in so many difficulty modes. So they definitely seem like they're trying to cater to the ultra easy audience for the first time that I can ever recall. There is actually a new difficulty called Newcomer that, as far as I can tell, makes it where you A, have infinite lives, and B, if you do something like fall down a hole, a little birdie will actually pick you up and just set you back on land. Now, these changes are interesting, but they definitely just caught me off guard. I'm not at all saying that they're a bad thing, but it felt weird after trying to play so many Mega Man games over the decades and really beating my face against incredibly tough bosses to suddenly have this way to essentially turn the difficulty off. I think that Capcom is trying to really do what they should have done a long time ago, which is open up the floodgates of the Mega Man fandom. Up until now, it seems like these games were actually quite difficult. In fact, just playing this demo on regular difficulty is really tough. And I think that Capcom realizes that that could be a detriment going forward. I think that they're really trying to finally make it where these games are super accessible to anyone, even if they haven't played any games in the past. Now, let's talk about the level setup as the last thing I really want to get into, because this is really neat. It really feels like a mix of Junkman and Rockman, something where you're just trying to cruise along and shoot a bunch of mini bosses in a row. They also tucked in some really cool platforming sections that sort of gave you free range as to whether you wanted to try and do it with pure skill and just time all your jumps on these conveyor belts flawlessly, or if you want and your gears aren't overheated from being used too much, you can also slow down time to make it where certain of the tougher spots can be traversed a little bit easier. I also like that it seems like each screen had multiple kinds of enemies all mixed together. It didn't have it where in some spots of certain Mega Man games, especially the original Mega Man X, you would go to a particular level sometimes and only see 2 or 3 enemy types ever, whereas in here I think I counted 6 different enemy types in a single stage, and that's just pretty pretty unique. I like the fact that there's just such a wide range of enemies that have to be shot in the back, powered up, or just flat out avoided if they're too strong. This is a very good demo, and I feel like it further illustrates the fact that we're basically entering an all-new age of Mega Man, and I'm actually very, very hyped for it. But I guess now, I'm curious how this is going to reflect in sales. Mega Man 11 is going to be cheaper than a standard game, only being, I think, $30, but it seems like it's going to be a very full-priced experience. It seems like, from the outside, Capcom is betting on this thing being a giant blockbuster, so now, personally, I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering it just to see if this game is actually worth all the chatter that's around it. But what do you guys think? Have you tried the demo yet? Right now it's only on Nintendo Switch, but tomorrow morning it should be coming out completely free of charge for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So really, I'm kind of curious what people who have never played Mega Man ever in their life would think about this very retro style 2D experience kind of just popping up for free and blowing minds. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.